Hey guys, welcome to a ownership review of the Porsche 987 Cayman S. As you guys know, I have a gorgeous Guards Red Cayman. It has the 3.4 liter and it's a manual. As you guys could see, I went with the track build on this one, and yes, I actually go to the racetrack. You can see from my racing number. Now, as you guys could see, I kept the interior pretty tame, especially for a track car. All I have done in the interior is a quick release steering wheel, a Sparco seat, a harness bar, and a harness. I was gonna take out this seat, take out the dash, and then put an entire roll cage around it, but I opted not to just because I'm gonna be driving this thing on the street as well. If you guys follow me to the back, this would have been a pretty sizable trunk area. You could probably fit like a solid 3 suitcases in there. One over here, and you could actually put stuff up here as well without it blocking off your trunk. As you guys could see, removed all the carpets, the insulation, the sound deadening, and it's just a bare bones trunk. As you guys can see, the oil and the coolant will be both right here. As far as the coolant, if you want to actually get to the reservoir, you'd have to open up this access panel. You can actually check your coolant right there. On the bottom one, it's the minimum. Up here, it's the maximum. It's fairly easy to check your coolant, but as far as the oil, the one thing I don't really like too much modern Porsches are there is no dipstick. What I mean by that is you have to go all the way to the dash, and if you started up your car, it's not gonna work. You have to wait for your oil measurement, and right now we're at low. Mine likes to fluctuate between being in the middle and being on low, but if you've started up your car, you have to wait 30 minutes in order to get that done. Now coming around to the front of the car, of course, you have the Porsche Frunk, and this thing is pretty sizable, like, and it's sturdy. Here's me like getting in it, and you can see like I'm 5'5", so I'm not the tallest human being in the world, but it goes up to like my thighs. Like the middle of my thigh is how deep this thing is. And if you guys want a little bit of perspective, here's a 3-ton jack stand. It goes in there no problem. Now there is one thing that I truly hate about these Porsche Caymans, and this is coming from someone that loves these Porsche Caymans, is your battery location. So you can see it's all the way in your front. The only problem with that is if your car dies, say in this instance, all your windows are up and all your doors are shut and your battery's dead. How do you get in a car? And if your guess was to open it up with a key, so here, I'm gonna lock it. As you can see, it's locked. I'm going to take my key, place it in the keyhole, and turn. Left doesn't work, and right doesn't work. I don't know what this keyhole is for, but I cannot unlock my car with a physical key. So in the instance that your battery is dead, I have no idea how to get in the cabin. Now a little side note, there is a button to activate this little wing, or automatically, no matter what, if you go past 70 miles per hour, that wing goes up. And there's no way to turn that off unless you disconnect it, which will also throw up a code. Now, as far as the interior goes, here's my interior again. It is a track build, so we have a lot of gauges. If you're curious about how you get to your water pump or belt, there's another access panel behind the seats. As far as size-wise, like I said, I am 5'5". Comfortably, I would say this thing can fit someone that's 6 foot. Above 6 foot, it's gonna get uncomfortable for you if you're over 6 foot. And as far as the infotainment's concerned, this is not the stock one. It is pretty easy to get one of these double DIN touchscreen ones into your system. I also have a reverse camera, so that helps me out a lot. As far as the commands go, this is the button to go up and down for the wing. This is the sports button, which stiffens up the suspension, and if I'm not mistaken, it actually lightens your flywheel. I don't know how that works, but it revs a lot faster. It also multiplies your gas input. And of course, the shifter. I know a lot of people like the PDK, but there's something about the manuals on these Porsches that is magical. Like, take a listen. It's really addicting. Like, it sounds like you're bolting a rifle. Aside from that, you have a normal parking brake, and the center console is lacking a little bit of space. Now you're thinking, hey, there's no cup holders on my center console. That's because your cup holders actually sit up here. And these, contrary to popular belief, I actually don't think they suck. I think they only manufactured these with the Europeans in mind because a large soda from McDonald's is not going to fit in here. At most, you're going to get a medium-sized cup in there. And it's ratcheting, so you can adjust how small it is and how big it is. You also get one for the passenger. There is one problem with the AC in these cars, and for some reason, I think something to do with the heater core, whatever material they're made out of, black paper actually starts to come out. It looks like tufts of dirt. and dust mixed together. I have seen it myself when I tried to use it. Now, sitting on the driver and passenger side, you do have a lot of leg room. I'm only 135 pounds, but I can fully like contort my legs in whatever manner I want. As far as the window switches, this is to go up, this is to go down, this is your door handle. As far as storage goes, you have a little side pocket right here. My girlfriend keeps all her chocolates in there. And built into the door handle is actually a pretty deep pocket. It's a pad. Sorry about that. That's literally about it. I mean, it's a sports car interior. You're not going to get much. And of course, if you have a Bose system, I don't know if they came stock with a Bose system, but this entire thing is a speaker. It does pretty good for what it's for. And moving on, under the car, there's one thing that you will never think about when you're buying a Porsche, and that's where you jack the car up from. Now, Porsche had in mind that you were going to take their car into a shop. But if you wanted to do a DIY, the only spots to jack a car up is from these metal things. Now that makes sense. The entire ridge is lined with plastic. And if you can see right here, this is actually where I put my jack. I have one designated spot to mess up my under panel, and that's right there. Now, I don't know if I'm just stupid, but there's no obvious spots. This red thing right here in the back of cross member holding your transmission, that's aftermarket. This is a designated jack point for the rear. For the front, I have no idea where to put it at. And staying on that matter, so when you jack your car up from the rear, when you go to put your jack stands in, when you try to put it back down so it could sit on the jack stands, the car actually slightly rolls forward. This is where my jack stand goes. I have to put my jack stand over here to compensate for the car rolling forward. And of course, being a Porsche, you have your gas cap right here. And now moving on to the driver's side. As far as the interior, I tried to keep it clean. The neat part about Porsches are your key actually goes on the left-hand side. And you get your controls for opening up the trunk, which is the front one, and your controls for opening up the other trunk, your rear one. And this handy-dandy little option, the chrono, is actually for this chronometer. If you select it with this handy-dandy little, whatever it's called, thumbstick, you can start the timer for it. And it is actually a full-blown timer. This is for your laps. There is literally nothing else this clock does. It doesn't tell you the time, it just tells you how long you've been timing for. There's nothing digital, it's all analog. So if you're very old school and you like watching actual moving parts, then this is for you. But with the twist of having a little bit of modernity, is that how you say it? Modernity? The entire thing is not a screen, things still move around. This is also one of the last Porsches to come out with hydraulic steering. The steering in this car is amazing. This car does come with 295 horsepower, and that is a detuned motor from the factory. It has the same motor from the Porsche 911s. It's just slower, so it wouldn't be able to compete with the flagship. Now, with a tune and a couple mods, probably like $4,000 worth of mods, you can get it up to the same amount of horsepower as a 911. The maintenance on this car is not too bad. As far as basic maintenance, this thing is very easy. The air filter is super accessible. The oil change is super easy. Spark plugs are literally on the other side of this wheel. You'll be able to see the spark plugs. Your coolant's right there. If you have to do a water pump, there's an access panel on the other side of this front seat. This car's engine did come with a variety of problems, but 3 main problems: IMS bearing, bore scoring, and the third problem with these was the bad oiling. Now, with these cars, the handling is amazing. It has hydraulic steering, it's mid-engine, it's light. In the hands of a capable driver, this thing will definitely beat a lot of modern Porsches. This car does have a lot of aftermarket support, both in engine power, suspension, and if you're into it, for looks. There's 2 routes to go about the Porsche Cayman if you modify the looks. You can either go with a stock look and get like a GT4 front bumper, or if you're gonna do what I'm gonna do and be stupid, they actually make wide body kits from this from Rocket Bunny / Pandem, which is what I'm gonna do. So aftermarket support for this thing is definitely up there. It's basically a German tuner car. You can get these things up to 400 horsepower on stock. They make a twin turbo kit for this thing. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed, please like, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I'll go ahead and put the videos of me doing pulls right somewhere around there.